Welcome everyone. We are the DREADIES and we're playing DreadLore. It's a tabletop role-playing game that focuses on the immersion of the storytelling.
That's what they say.
Yep. We bid our character traits and stuff to do stuff and change the narrative, more so than we do dice rolls. So it's more on us to have control of it instead of just leaving it up to fate. Your cast tonight is me, the Drizzle, as Simon Vincent. You've got Ken Howl as Nord Zerderberg. You've got Daniel Hulker. I'm pointing and I'm realizing that I'm probably not pointing to the right pictures. You got Daniel Hulker as Tony, can't remember his last name.
Tony
Zerniak. And you got Andrea Elliott-Johnson as Liam Mizrahi. And as the arbiter tonight is Bill Bunkum.
Eating nuts.
Yep.
What are we
He's over
playing?
there eating some walnuts. Tonight the game is the Red Writ. I left that part.
The
of it.
Red Writ.
Yeah. Thanks for the music to all lowercase letters and Mr. Interrupt. They're the pretty things that you hear underneath us rambling. We'd also like to thank our Patreon people. Nostalgic, Natalia Cline, Tim Roberts, and Daniel Hulker.
That guy.
All the pretty things you see in between and all the technological side is handled by Couchfire Media. So we would not be here if it was not for them.
Nope.
And also another person that we would not be here for is Terrible Productions.
Whoever they are.
We don't know what in the fuck they do.
Yeah, we don't.
So now we'll kick it over to Hulker for our sponsor for this evening.
Tonight's sponsor is the Messinian Salinity Crisis. The Messinian Salinity Crisis occurred from 5.9 to 5.3 million years ago. The crisis occurred when tectonic uplift created a permanent land bridge between Africa and Europe, cutting off the Mediterranean from the Atlantic. The Mediterranean then lost most of its volume, exposing areas up to 3,000 feet below sea level and creating hypersaline seas in the lowest parts. The rest of the ocean in other parts of the world increased by up to 30 feet and decreased in overall salinity, lowering the threshold needed to create sea ice. This era was brought to an end. Erosion near Gibraltar allowed a small stream to capture the Atlantic, and shortly thereafter the Atlantic burst through and a massive flood refilled the entire region in less than 2 years. The current Strait of Gibraltar is over 2,000 feet deep, in part due to erosion from Atlantic waters that now constantly flow into the Mediterranean to compensate for its high rate of evaporation.
Oh, good. Now, is that why the Strait of Gibraltar is, it's rather infamous for being rough, right? Rough seas?
It's not the roughest, but it has at its surface, waters from the Atlantic are streaming into the Mediterranean. And I think there is a countercurrent at the bottom of more saline water going outwards to balance everything out.
Interesting. Thanks. What is this called again?
Messinian Salinity Crisis.
The Messinian Salinity Crisis.
Yeah,
it's sponsorship.
How
many years ago?
Sponsoring a show, but it's a bit salty.
That was a long way to go for that one.
Yeah.
The Red Writ.
Right.
How long ago was the
Red Writ
Messinian Salinity Crisis?
It is primarily thought to have occurred from around 5.9 to 5.3 million years.
So not that long ago. Okay.
A minute.
Yeah.
Forever.
You know, not that long ago. I mean, relative to, relative. It's not pretty new. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. If you're catching us on the podcast, continue doing so. Write a review. We have little polls, like little questionnaires at the end of those things. You should totally check those out. Some of them are good. If you're catching us live, hi. Say hello to the chat, and Drizzle will announce you. Remember, you got Dread points, which are channel points on Twitch, and you can do stuff with them. The descriptions will describe what you can do. So, read, please. If you want to know anything about DreadLore or what we're doing, who we are, DreadLore.com. Check it out, and you'll find your heart desire. So, tonight, on the Red Writ.
Red.
All right.
Dread.
Let's do a little bit of a read. You guys just encountered Lady Callie. Leah shot her. Dead. Actually, she was very dead. And then Leah proceeded to take this weapon, we'll say, a glaive of some sort that no one in game has bothered to try to figure out, and chop up the body and burn it in a brazier. Pretty much that was the entire session for Leah. But it was good to do because, you guys have noticed that sometimes the dead have risen. So she was making sure Lady Callie wasn't going to do that. In the meantime, other stuff happened. We're going to address some of that tonight. The other stuff that did happen. You guys left the sunken temple. You swam out. It is colder on the surface, much colder. The blizzard is in full blizzard. Full swing. You make your way to the edge of Bell Island, up the stony steps, and you're at the precipice looking out across the narrow river, the narrow strait, across at Detroit. To your left, down the embankment, about a quarter of a mile, you see where your boat is. This gas-powered boat. It's not bipping and bopping in the surf anymore. Seems like the water has started to freeze quite a bit. Across the way, darkness, fires in the city. The lights are out. There's the din of yelling voices, the distant echoing in Detroit. Something is happening there with a lot of people. Obvious across the way, you see the lighthouse, the abandoned lighthouse, which is on. The light is not spinning; it's just shining at Bell Island, actually, like a cyclops. Far beyond that, up at Grosse Point, this is to your right, you see there is electricity. There's some embers, some sort of fire conflagration going on up there. And that's pretty much what you've got. The only ways across this strait, you get your boat, you could potentially walk across if it's actually frozen, and then you have the Chambly Bridge. Or some other means if you can. And you're all standing there in various degrees of injury. It is very cold. We're talking right now about 10 degrees-ish. Because of the canopy and forest, there's not much wind here, but you can hear the wind blowing in the canopy 30, 50 feet above you. It's massive forest, Fangorn forest style. All of you from Kentucky, know all about what happens with the trees when they freeze. and how they're almost like wind chimes clanging together. Every so often you hear almost like what would be just a loud crack in the forest and limbs falling, and you know that's rather dangerous. There's quite a wind outside. Beyond, you can see the snow coming down, huge chunks, and out there, who knows how cold it is. What are you guys wearing?
I've got my suit on, and then I also have the pelt that the deer
The acolyte pelt.
Yep.
Yeah, which is actually
trying to keep myself warm.
it's actually pretty warm. Big old deerskin pelt. Actually, great. It's great for what you're doing. Let's do brief character descriptions. So we'll start with Simon.
Simon Vincent is standing there. He's, like I said, he's got a brown suit on. It does come with the vest. He's got a vest on underneath it. Got his detective looking hat on, and then on top of that he has the acolyte deerskin, which, although is quite warm, as you say, is technically soaking wet because we just got out of the water. So it's probably not helping a whole lot.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We'll go with Nord.
Nord is on mute. Nord has laryngitis.
That's so good. I muted because I had to go say goodbye to some people.
Oh.
Nord is a journalist. He is from Sweden or Switzerland, one of the two. And
Basically the same place.
basically the same. The one next to Finland, which will go with Sweden.
That's
He is he's wearing a big pelt like everyone else, and he's also wearing a Kevlar vest and a pretty fancy, weird shape, color shifty jacket, and some pants that are probably very dirty, but maybe cleaner than they were because he is wet and had a long swim. He's also on a series of drugs. He's on fish breath, and he's on some other mental drug that I forgot to write down because I can't remember what it was, but hopefully we'll get to that at some point. That's what he's on. I'll do the research while other people are talking.
We'll go with Tony. Character description.
Tony has a deer pelt with antlers. One of the antlers is kind of sagging because it wasn't put on there all that well. And of course, it's been through a lot, right? Underneath, Tony's wearing a light jacket, some thick khaki pants, and an old ELO t-shirt with a couple of holes. And everything's stained with a marinara sauce from a mishap at an Italian restaurant. That's what I'm going with.
Aaliyah?
That kind of forced me to actually put some thought into what Leah looks like and what she'd be wearing, because I never really thought about it much. But I think I've decided that she would be wearing kind of like a business, attire. So she'd have like slacks on with a kind of like trying to look like professional, but having obviously been through all the stuff we do, have been, because I feel like Leah in her normal life would want to look like a professional person. So I could see her wearing like slack pants, like high-waisted slacks, with a white dress shirt. And normally she'd probably wear like a blazer over top of it, but she hasn't been this whole time. So she kind of, and with the white dress shirt, I'm sure it's, well, bloody and,
Yeah, it ain't white anymore.
has holes in it. Yeah,
It ain't
bloody
white
and
anymore.
has holes in it, and yeah.
And nothing
then over
she
top of
has on
that,
is white.
yeah. And then over top of that, she has the deer pelt.
Mm.
And then I also see her having like long black hair that's constantly tied back in like a super tight ponytail that at this point obviously has a few strands loose and such, but
Yeah, she's like acolyte in the business underneath. I get it. Yeah, and you all look incredibly. You have blood stains from other people mostly, yourself included. All of you, all over you. You're covered in shit and piss and blood and mud and dirt and leaves. You look like you just came out of World War One. So whatever you have on is ripped and torn and or scuffed and utterly fucked. These pelts, you need to like dry clean them. You need to wash them because they look really bad. In fact, you guys kind of look like the Whisperers from Walking Dead, although I didn't watch it. But they look like scary fucking horror people. Yeah. You have with you a couple NPCs. One is Mariah. Who wants to describe Mariah?
I can do that since she's my daughter.
Yeah.
And do we actually have like an official? I mean, I guess that one picture that you guys put up. So she kind of has like, lightish brown hair, and she's 12, right?
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, because like we keep on. She's very mature for her age.
She's very mature.
Very very precocious.
She's
very
precocious as hell.
Very very intelligent. She picks up things quick. Makes her mama very proud. Probably gonna need lots of therapy, assuming she survives all of this.
Oh, she'll survive.
There. So yeah, that's yes.
What about Rebecca Foster? We'll give this to Nord.
Rebecca Foster is my on again, off again prostitute girlfriend. And
That's
she
one time.
yeah, there's
The one time.
yeah, the one time. And then we made out a little bit last episode, so it was fine. She is kind of I think she's in very close to a lot of what's been going on in the Red Writ.
The Red Writ.
And she's known a number of people as throughout her journeys. She knew Marcus, which was Leah's husband, and I think she spent some time with maybe the Buttes or maybe some of the other ostentatious families. Maybe not. There's no evidence of that. Who knows?
Allegedly.
But yeah, she's a hooker with a heart of gold for sure. And she got a little look upgrade in this last.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
Kinda...
She kind of looks like a flapper now.
Yeah, I think she needed that 70s hair that I was going for more of a Farrah Fawcett kind of hair. Bigger.
Lastly, NPCs wise, we have Detective John. We'll give this to Simon.
Detective John kind of looks a lot like Simon does. He's dressed up in a suit. But the cuffs on his sleeves are a little singed for some reason. And he does not wear the outside. He doesn't have a pelt like the rest of us do, but he doesn't seem to be bothered as much by the cold for some reason. But he is hobbling, trying to make sure that he's making it out, because he did come back to actually kind of help us and got captured in doing so.
Indeed. And that's pretty much bringing us up to date. So, We'll say the action is on you guys, of course. This is the montage. Remember, if you need to do your advancements, now would be the time to do it, or before we get into the dread. If you have minor and major goals, or if you don't have minor and major goals, you might want to think about those, so you can, like, get them. That is how you get your cunning and your breath back. That is how you get experience so that you can advance. So it's important, damn it. We'll say the action's on Simon. Simon, you're standing there helping Detective John. The rest of the group is either coming up behind you or to meet with you on this platform. This is the same platform that you met Onus at. So there's branches all over the place from when the branches fell, when that abstract came and sort of growled at you all and made everybody insane for a moment. And did definitely not kill Tony by accident.
Leah, did you bring that thing you used in the temple?
What thing?
That big spear thing? Do you still have it?
No.
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to go get that?
Well, we could, if we try to take the boat back, we could probably use something like that to help bust up the ice that's around it, so we can get back across the river. It'll still be a little treacherous, but that'll help us make it a little easier instead of trying to break the ice with the boat.
Well, now that I can breathe underwater, it shouldn't be a big issue for me. I can run down and grab it.
Well, just don't lollygag around, because last time you breathed underwater, you ended up puking a lot of it up.
Sure, it's true.
We
I
could shoot it.
I pull out all the paintings that I have wrapped around me and hand them to Simon.
Let's
And
find
I
out
ta-
if they were actually
Sure.
protected. You
Yeah,
had a pretty good you had a bid. You had a pretty good plan for them. How many of them did you have?
All of them, I think.
There were 7 total.
Okay.
It was probably
So-
difficult summing up, but
So Nord, we're gonna say, how about you describe, since you had bid,
Sure.
to sort of jury rig this somehow, these paintings around you, all bulky. Describe what all that is and what is their state.
well, I took the paintings and I put them. I tried to make them skin tight on my skin, so when I put them on, I had to take off like layer after layer. And Nord is covered in layers and layers of clothing, of various smell. But for the most part, I think he believed that maybe once if he had them close enough to his body, and then he put his shirt on, and then he put his vest on, and then he put the Kevlar on the vest, then the pelt, with all of that stuff, it might have protected it a little bit, because he was definitely more round than when it's very bulked up, I guess, when doing that. So that's
So
kind of
taking all that
the
off,
idea.
what are the paintings? What is their what state are they in?
I would like to spend a narrative point that that the edges are wet, and for the most part, the paintings retained much of their, maybe it was oil or something as well, and so the water didn't necessarily wash away the pigment, and that we get the idea of whatever photo or not photo, but whatever was painted on there hasn't run away.
Yes, you pull those off, and remarkably, we'll say Rebecca Foss is sitting there, and she's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I thought you'd wait." As you undo your stuff and pull the stuff off, she kind of cocks her head. "Well, we did meet in the dark."
Yeah. Here, Rebecca, take this pelt. It might keep you warmer.
As she looks at the pelt, it's heavy, from being wet, and she's like, looking around at the Antarctic style storm around you. Guess so. And she like slips into it. Oddly enough, it's warm on the inside and rather dry. As with your narrative point, we'll say these pelts had sort of like an oily barrier. So there's actually dry parts on the inside that will actually protect you all from the cold a little. Actions on you all.
I'm gonna go run back and I guess get this weapon by myself. Nobody stop me. All right.
Okay.
As you see Nord take off down the stair into the woods.
In order to not be for it to take a little less time, I will bid a new trait that I have called More Than Meets the Eyes. And kind of run as Nord is more athletic than he kind of looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nord, you take off. The rest of you, actions on you. Say, Tony, what are you doing standing there as Nord runs off?
When's he coming back?
I would assume just the amount of time it takes him to swim down and back. This time, hopefully, he won't lollygag like he was last time. He may not feel as invincible as he was.
Where's Rebecca?
I'm right here as she pops around Simon.
Oh,
She's wearing
yeah.
Nord's cloak.
Yeah, he'll be back.
She smiles big, as if to say, "You think?" Mariah is... Go on.
Oh, you go ahead.
Mariah is in between all of... shivering, of course. She'll be at Simon's... Well, Simon's helping Detective John. She'll be at Leah's side. Snuggled up against the fur, and all the coagulated blood is like in her hair, kind of stuck to it. As she moves her head, it kind of pulls.
What
are you doing, Leah?
She has a pelt too.
She'll have a pelt on.
Yeah.
So first, just so you know, I was looking through the book to choose my advancements because I am now choosing Mantle of the Chosen for an ability.
Interesting. This is a mysticism?
With 2 upgrades. Yes.
Okay, remember you can only upgrade once at a time, and then you can move it up the next time you advance.
Okay. Well, fine then.
Yep. So
well, I guess
you can make multiple upgrades in a montage, but not on the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then I'll just upgrade my other new-ish ability. So there.
That way you don't go from 0 to completely maxed in one upgrade.
What?
Like, suddenly I'm amazing at this.
Who would ever do such a thing? Not me.
This is what you were doing. Anyway, can you describe to everybody what is Mantle of the Chosen?
So in terms of how it's described in the book, basically, you have the favor of, a god or the gods, or however you want to frame this, at least in this instance, that where something that normally might kill you, you get a form of saving grace. So like if you normally would have been burned up in a fire, you'll be able to survive it. If a lightning strike would have stopped your heart, it'll keep beating, kind of thing. Or if you're going to starve to death, you might find a little bit of food.
Right. So the Mantle of the Chosen kind of gives you that, your favored sort of stuff. Yellow Wing Howl. At least they did it at 420.
Yeah, they did it early. So it's
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I can't. I was trying to remember how to delete that, and I can't. I
Yeah,
just
you
can't
have to
remember how
be-
do it.
You have to be
Oh.
on the video producer thing or whatever it is.
Oh, I
And it
am.
should
I
give
just
you-
I don't.
oh.
I don't remember how to.
All right.
Um,
Well, it's not a
so
big deal.
after that,
Yep.
Leah will, sort of wrap her one free arm, letting why am I blanking on her name all of a
Dude, I
sudden?
feel
What
it.
the hell?
I feel it.
What's my daughter's name again? Mariah. Mariah. Letting Mariah lean into my cloak on the one side and using my sort of free arm to wrap around her. Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah. I'm great. She looks up and smiles. There's blood coagulated in her hair and all over. She's kind of like got scrapes, gnarly kind of scrapes, like maybe down her neck, such. She's all like scraped up, like she's been, going through the woods, for example, and crawling through a sunken temple, for example. Maybe like a couple of her fingernails are split, and she looks up with this childlike innocence. 12-year-old. I love the idea. Ooh, fate roll. Who's fortune? Who's false fortune?
I shall be false fortune.
I'll be fortune.
So here are the stakes.
Oh.
False fortune. Mariah's birthday was like 2 days ago. And you forgot.
That's rude. That's mean.
Yes, it is.
It's in the middle of this whole adventure.
The middle of the whole thing. You just didn't remember. Neither did she, really. Fortune, her birthday is like tomorrow. So the point is, she's going to be 12. Which is why we've been changing her age. Clearly, not a retcon. Alright, so roll it.
Oh, nice. I got 86.
I got 2.
Her birthday is tomorrow.
Her birthday?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Happy
Exactly.
birthday. We'll have some dead people make a cake.
Indeed. Continue.
Leah seeing this will kind of give her kind of like a very appraising look and then actually get down on one knee. It's okay to not be okay. I was broken a long time ago and I hope to spare you of that.
She kind of looks at you. I mean, yeah, I'm okay.
You know why
Everything's
I
fine.
moved to this You know why I moved to this country?
No, not really.
Because
To learn English?
well, we all learned English. But no. I moved to this country because I didn't want my daughter to grow up at war all the time. I
She
didn't
kind
want
of
you to have to
looks at
deal. I didn't want you to have to deal with all this. I didn't want you to have to feel unsafe.
She kind of nods.
This is not the life I had hoped for you. And I'm sorry you've been caught up in all this.
Where do you bid?
I guess I still have mom, so I'm gonna bid mom. Yeah.
What's the intention you're going for here?
just to basically, well, both comfort her, but also bottling up traumatic emotions works in the short term, but in the long term will cause neurosis. And I want her to know that it's safe to let it out, if only for a little bit. So that way it doesn't, it doesn't build up and become something far worse down the line.
Okay, describe the scene then. Or what you want is going to happen.
Yeah. I see Mariah kind of start shifting her eyes back and forth. Not really looking at anybody or anything, and just sort of, kind of like you see somebody like running through the mental processes in their head, of not really sure, what to do. And then Leah seeing that sort of seeing that response from her, take that as a opportune moment to lean in and give her a hug. And I don't think that they would necessarily be crying, but I would see like audible crying, I should say. I would see both Leah and Mariah, hugging each other and tears falling down their faces. Both, because both of them at this point don't really know what happened to Marcus either,
We don't care about the why.
Oh, yeah.
We just want to know the why.
I don't know, man. Like, emotions are messy. Like, I don't know, like trying to,
That's why you're describing it, because you did the bid.
Yeah.
We don't want to know about the why, but what was the other part?
Well, no.
The what and the how.
The what and the how.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess. They would be. I don't know. That's the best I can do for the moment.
No, I love it. As Leah is there kneeling, embracing Mariah embracing her. Those of you around, so Tony, Simon, you see Rebecca Foster and also John off to the side. He's distanced himself from all of this emotion. Do you see Leah and Mariah, tears streaming down their face? It's obvious it's cleaning their faces off. Not making any sound, having this moment. Maybe Mariah is heaving, shaking in her mother's arms. And for the first time, really, you're seeing Leah be very human. With the Mossad thing, that guy's kind of gone. And it's also hilarious because they're doing this in acolytes robes with fucking deer antlers and shit. As John is obviously uneasy, he kind of shifts his weight and moves a little bit away from you, Simon. Kind of and moves off to the side. Rebecca comes forward and she puts her hand on your shoulder, Leah. As you look up, you see that she's crying too. She has this face of absolute charity and solidarity with you.
I think. Yeah, no, I mean, and admittedly, it's hard for me to separate myself from, a character I made up entirely in my own head. I think Leah would. I'm not sure if forgive her is the right way to put it, because I think seeing that Leah would recognize that
What
they're probably.
and how?
I'm trying to.
No one cares about the why. Actually,
I
truth,
care
we do care. We do care. I know you. We do care about it, but I want you to say what and how. You'll have an opportunity for the why.
Would. You said she put her hand on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Leah would actually let go of Mariah with one of her arms and grab Rebecca's arm and actually pull her down into the hug with Mariah, and let her be a part of that.
See, much more powerful. As you guys see this happen, you don't know why, but you can assume. Actions on Tony and Simon.
I think that we probably need to get the boat, get across, and try to get over to the Butte house.
Yeah. Is there anything around here we might want to take with us that might help us get through the ice, even if it's just some branches? We might need anything and everything.
Well, Nord's gone after that spear thing that Leah was using.
John kind of turns. He's a few feet away from you. He's looking down at the. I wonder if that ice, the river, is actually frozen. Tony, Lake St. Clair has rarely frozen. But then again, this storm is apocalyptic.
Yeah. Completely frozen? Probably not. But there might be isolated ice patches. And it's also a flowing river. Kind of.
John looks up for like the first time. It's pretty obvious to you two, seeing the lighthouse on, as he kind of drops the cool gaze for a moment, and you see his mouth drop, and there's an emotion that crosses his face. As his eyes kind of shift, he looks over his shoulder at you two and then just sort of flexes his jaw muscles, rights himself.
Do you think your partner could have made it? Or do you think he's dead over there?
As if reading his mind, you get a narrative point. As he turns, looking at you. He's pretty tough. Grant's pretty tough. But if he's showing me the light, if he's shining the light this way, that means he made contact. He was supposed to signal me if they were coming. They must have gotten the drop on him too.
Do you think should we swing by there first before heading to the Butte house to see if he's there?
See, as John looks at you for a moment, you see again something in his eyes as he gives you a nod.
It's not too far.
Yeah, but what's Nord gonna come back to?
Well,
Nord, go on.
Well, if you guys want to go ahead and head on down to the boat and wait on us, I'll wait here for Nord, and then we'll meet up with you. That way you can get the boat started and at least try to warm up some. And
So
we'll be
wait,
able
what
to-
if-
Sorry,
What if? And then, I feel kind of bad for suggesting this after Norda left, but what if there's no point in trying to break up the ice to begin with.
What do you mean?
I mean, what if it's frozen?
It's Tony was just saying that it won't freeze all the way.
John turns back,
Well,
kind of, hard look in his eyes, and Rebecca Foster, in her typical fashion, sitting there in that embrace, looks up. Yeah, but Tony, I mean, are you sure the storm's looking out at it? I mean, it's cold.
and it seems like this island has been somewhat even sheltered from the storm. So I would not be surprised if the strait between the island and the mainland is enough that we could walk on it.
Well, it's probably better to at least try the boat first. Because if we start walking
Listen.
on it and get halfway through and it's not frozen, we'll have to turn around and come back anyway.
Listen, the reason I don't think it's going to be completely frozen, I've never heard of anyone just walking across the river. Trust me. Or not.
Makes me think of that scene from the Batman, the Dark Knight Returns or whatever. Send people out on the ice, see how far they get.
So, yep, I said I'm not going to do it anymore. Yep, that's exactly what you guys say. So it's Lake St. Clair, and then the Detroit River and the St. Clair River. One is on one side of Bell Island, one is on the other.
So if you want, like I said, me and John can wait here for Nord to get back, and you guys can go ahead and just go get the boat started and get warmed up some.
Are you going to the lighthouse?
I think we should run by there we can make it across the river and then go to the lighthouse and then go to the buttes. That's my suggestion, unless somebody else says something different they want to do.
Well, I guess let's do it then.
Before you go, you might want to make sure your gun still works.
But once we get on the boat and stuff, we'll let it dry out. Like we did in the temple.
Come on, let's do it.
Tony, as you have been up here before, as a border guard and such, we'll have you roll. So, since you did not bid, be mind and your action die. And as you haven't bid, you can only get one success on either die. So you can get one success on both die, a total of 2 successes. You can do abilities, ninja gear, all that stuff as normal, but you're rolling with detriment right now.
All right, here goes. Two successes.
2, goddamn, nice.
Rolled an 8.
As you're sitting there, thinking, it usually doesn't freeze over. But then, maybe as a... You've been feeling a little different lately. Within the past 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
Quite a few things have happened to you. As almost like a distant memory, you remember walking across St. Clair when it was frozen, as a good 80-90% of it easily freezes when the temperatures drop really, really low. It usually happens over a protracted time of cold. Because,
Takes a while.
Detroit gets cold, like really cold. And when it gets really cold for a long time, like in the winter, St. Clair often freezes. People ice skate on it. It doesn't totally freeze, but absolutely the boat could be stuck in it. It's only been a day. It's only been, 4 4 or 5 hours of this weather. Likely not, maybe, who knows?
So it could totally freeze up if it stays like this.
Oh yeah, it will freeze up.
Well, either way, Leah will go ahead and get up and and sort of pat Mariah down and just sort of be like, all right, let's head to the boats.
She nods as Rebecca comes with you too.
Look, what about the bridge?
Mariah looks over. Oh yeah, the bridge.
The bridge is not very it was fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly the most the safest route to get across the river.
You hear John. I'm surprised it hasn't fallen yet.
Yeah, it was pretty sketchy.
This boat this boat
cold
could get
outside.
stuck.
Well, we also could fall off the bridge.
What I could do is, while you guys are securing the boat and waiting for Nord, I could go scout ahead and see if anybody's in the lighthouse.
Well, the lighthouse is across the river.
Right, but what I'm saying is I take the bridge. I've already been across it once, so I know how to get across it safely.
But it wasn't snowy and icy. I'm just saying, to me, that seems more treacherous than... Even if the boat gets stuck, we can then traverse the ice and make it back or something like that. The boat just seems to get the majority of us over there quicker. But if you believe you can do it, I'm just
I believe
saying,
I can do
be
it.
very
Plus,
careful.
it'll save us the time of waiting and then getting across and then going to check the lighthouse. This way, I can just check it while you guys are doing that in the interim.
Nord, you are running down the way. You hear the group talking. Distant voices becoming unintelligible as you're alone, hearing the the silence and the stillness of the trees moving back and forth. As you make it to the frozen pool, sheets of ice floating to and fro. A good 80-90% of it is frozen. But there's the part where you guys broke out of it, and obviously you can swim down into that. 80-90% of, I'm talking about the surface of it, not the entirety of it. As you jump in, Sailorman dive.
Well, no. I feel like I kind of look around for a rock. I'm gonna spend a narrative point saying that there's a
No, you
protected
don't have to
rock.
do that. There's a rock.
And I'm gonna
There's plenty of
put my
rocks.
bag that I've been carrying around with me, with my camera gear, just off to the side.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna debate with myself if I should bring my camera gear, because I can't remember if I took any photos inside. No, fuck
I think
it.
a bigger deal would be, is your bag waterproof?
I mean, it's been around. It has an attribute.
Yeah. Is it waterproof?
That is not one of the attributes of.
I mean, I would use my advancement to make that bitch waterproof.
It is. It's really rugged.
That's up to you.
You don't want to make it too.
What do you do?
But I think I'm gonna just set the bag down.
You do.
And lighten my load a little bit. I feel a little lighter now. And I put the guns I have in the bag, and I just have my little pointy sword with me, kind of flipped on, and I'll dive in.
Sploosh! It's cold. Much colder,
Than it was.
Not much colder than it was. It's like when you get into a hot tub, you get out, and you're like, "Cool, I'm gonna jump in the pool. I was just in that." and it's like fucking freezing because this water is about 28 degrees.
Well,
So it
I'll
takes the breath out.
I'll spend one of my traits, my background ranger,
Okay.
to kind of like push through the cold and swim down there. And
This cold, sluggish water, if water can be sluggish, on the verge of freezing. As you swim down, you get to the bottom, bidding ranger. You pop, up into the sunken pool, and as you're padding, like the Terminator with determination forward, plat, 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 plat. There's the moment, perhaps, Nord, where you realize it's kind of like when you drive home, and you're like, "How did I get home?" You know what I'm talking about? Like you drive, you make the whole drive, and you're like, "What the fuck? That was like an hour." You realize you don't know if you breathed or not. The entire time you swam down the 30 plus feet, the 20, 30 seconds it took you to actually swim this way. As you kind of like cough maybe, the water out of your throat and such. Maybe you're getting used to it, who knows? What do you do? Action's on you.
I'm gonna go find that staff that was thrown at me and not Tony.
Bidding ranger, we'll keep that active because that applies to this, I would say. Do you do anything else when you get into the temple? It's strange. You're alone in here. Your footsteps echo. You've walked into the main room, the sort of antechamber where the braziers are and the dead acolytes. You walk forward into the room where the rift was. There's more braziers. Blood, not as much, for dirt, mud, algae everywhere. You walk into the main room where the ziggurat is, towering ceiling, 50, 60 plus feet up. The 4 braziers going. There's the smell of burnt hair and flesh of Lady Callie's body going up in the corner. Blood, all kinds of stuff. Grisliness here.
It doesn't seem pleasant. I might do one more bid, which is I might bid my nature altruistic. Just to glance around to see if there's anybody that was left down in here that might be struggling. I'll probably grab the staff once I find it and walk over, just do a quick last look to see if there's any.
Bidding ranger, you remember where Leah was, and that's the obvious choice to go, location to go to first. As you get there, you see, in fact, she had finished her grisly work and left this glaive-looking thing on the ground. It's, of course, covered in blood and runes. As you pick it up and maybe looking around, bidding altruistic, going around the back of the ziggurat, you see a couple of the bodies of the acolytes who've been shot. You remember being at the top of the ziggurat. The only thing that you'd seen was this weird rune, this circle of that Lady Callie had been standing in. And then you see the 3 dead acolytes lying on the floor, and there's the one sacrificed, decapitated body that's as well. Maybe with altruism as well, you quickly move into the room, the catacomb room back where Simon had gone. You just see old graves, dusty skeletons that are too dry to have melted, basically. And that's when you hear a sound, scraping, coming from the main room. It sort of echoes. Not sure if it's something falling. Maybe it's something in the brazier. That's burnt up too much to fall through. But you hear this cling, scrape.
Does it sound human or does it sound like a scraping, like somebody's dragging something or someone? Or metal?
It's nondescript at this point. You could bid. You could throw down if you want.
Yeah, I'll throw down to kind of
Okay. You
Feel
need
if
one
I-
success.
figure it out. Well, I got
So the bid or
two.
throwdown rule. Nice. So the
With
bid or
one-
throwdown rule is threshold 0. Ergo, you have a narrative point on this.
Oh no, I got 4 successes.
You got 4 successes? Oh, well, yeah, you have a narrative point on this. So if you beat it by 2, which you did, by 2 or more, then you get 1. You get a narrative point. You can add to this.
Okay.
As you sit
I'll-
there for
I'll
a
spend it.
moment, listening, sounds like someone getting up. And you hear a cough, a deep cough that sounds gross, like someone with bronchitis. And then sort of the splashing of fluids, and then a groan. And
Sure.
if you want the narrative point, that's for you to change the fiction a little bit.
No, I think I'll just use what you said and keep the narrative point for the moment. And because
Right now, you're
I-
at the back of the antechamber. I'm sorry, you're at
I'm
the
gonna
back of the main chamber, next to the
cautiously
door.
walk towards the sound and
So they'll be going around to the
to the front. And I'm going to bid a trait called Snoop,
mhm.
which is maybe allows me to kind of sneak up on them. I don't
That's a
want
good
them
one.
to hear me.
Good one.
Yeah.
So, if you were to be at the entrance of the temple, so where you came in, literally where Nord is going to, but if you're standing at the entrance, looking at the ziggurat, which would be right in front of you, to the left is the way that you went around. Right now, you're going around the right. So you're going around the other side. That's where the sound came from.
Sure.
As you round the back of the ziggurat, off to the side, you see what it is. It is one of the acolytes standing, sort of wavering there for a second, as this person is looking at their hands and flexing them. And they look around. As they do, you see flashes, almost like might remind Nord of camera flash, of blue light flickering in their eyes. And bidding Snoop, this acolyte doesn't see you yet, as you're maybe like next to the ziggurat, a little bit a ways. This is when you hear the scraping sound of someone else getting up on the other side of the ziggurat.
So these guys are coming back to life, and I would like to get the fuck out of there.
A female voice. She's a
Right.
base.
But I know where the exit is, correct?
Yeah, it's the entrance, which is going
Or-
past both of them. Or you can go up the
Yeah.
ziggurat.
I might climb up the ziggurat.
All right. What do you bid to do it?
It's a good question. I will bid. I don't know. My period of life, which is hardened.
What do you do with the staff thing?
Oh wait, I can't. I thought there were stairs on this side. There are no stairs on this side.
You do have a narrative point.
Well, I'll spend my narrative point.
At
to say
present,
that
no,
there's
there are no stairs.
I would like to spend my narrative a narrative point to say that there are stairs kind of.
They're
Going
the
up.
kind of stairs where they're not the obvious stairs that go up, as in like to the Tibetan temple. They're the kind that like when you're on the side of the ziggurat, you can see, there's little stairs notched out. It's dangerous, but you can actually walk up the side and get to the first platform. Does that make sense? Like they're sort of recessed, or not recessed. What's the opposite of recessed? Pushed out.
Obsessed.
Processed. I don't know.
Processed.
Convex.
Huh?
Convex or
Well,
concave.
convex. Yeah, convex. Yeah, sure. We'll go with convex.
Um,
It's even slippier.
yeah, I'll try climbing up that, and I'll bid walks off the path. Did I already bid that? Holy shit! I already fucking bid it.
You're a bidding fool.
I'm a bidding fool. Does Ranger still in effect where I can climb this thing without having to bid?
I'll give you a throwdown on it. It'll be a threshold 0 for you since you have Ranger still out.
And that is a grace, I presume.
I would say Grace, yeah. Grace or Wits. I think either one would work.
Oh wow, I'm rolling good tonight. That's 3 successes.
All right, so that's a narrative point.
Wow.
As Nord bidding Snoop, having Ranger active, having all these things active, you can move up these little notched-in stairs, holding the oversized spear thing at your side, hoping it doesn't clamor against the ziggurat. As you see this person moving towards the beginning, and they start chanting. Do you know what they're chanting?
Yeah, they're probably.
As you hear a chorus of the woman, and then a third scraping. Going.
Yeah.
As it's filling up the auditorium, echoing back and forth, sounding like multiple voices.
Well,
the fires start burning brighter.
Burning brighter. Is there a Okay. Is there anybody dead that is not risen on the second or this first level of the platform yet?
As you get on the first level,
a narrative point saying that there might be the dead guy that was beheaded, or something like that?
Sure.
The sacrifice, they might have had a cloak on.
Oh, indeed. So when Lady Callie kicked off that person, she took his cloak and just tossed it off to the other side, which is where you are. Yeah. As you look down and see that cloak there.
Can I?
You actually find his head too. Why not?
Yeah.
I think his head was somewhere else, but whatever.
That cloak on. I might. Quickly just search the body and see if there's a.
So the body is, she kicked it off on the other side.
Oh, okay. So, but the cloak is there.
Yeah, the cloak will be there.
All right. Well, I'll put the cloak on.
As you whip this cloak around, what does the cloak look? We'll give this to Simon. What does the cloak look like? Is it the same?
Well,
is it different? What is it?
No. This one is actually a goat. Because the ones who are set to be sacrificed don't get the fancy cloaks. They get goats.
They get goats. As you see a goat cloak.
Oh shit.
Which is lovely because it signifies you as a sacrifice.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I didn't do it.
Thanks.
You put this goat on. These fucking weird goat eyes are like looking around and kind of like boggly eyes.
Sorry, I thought it made a cool story. I didn't think about it.
Fucking goat belt. Like the fucking hooves.
You gotta kiss the goat. The goat is, it can be also, there's some lore where the goat is kind of devilly. I would like to spend a narrative point saying that the goat is kind of devilly. That sacrifice, maybe it was an accidental it was on purpose, but it was just because we did such a good job in stopping her from getting so many sacrifices that this goat sacrifice wasn't intentional. But it was just
intentional.
No, like she intended to sacrifice him, but it was.
I see.
It was only because they were around.
She had to ask for.
She needed one more, and then like that was. So this guy was sacrificed, but that wasn't the original plan.
Yeah, I can dig that. So sort of like a goat helper. It's like an understudy for the sacrifices.
Sure. He was allowed in the room. I mean, it was definitely one better than some of the lackeys that we ran into before. Sure. And I would like to bid badge and clipboard.
Okay.
with my staff,
You have a staff?
which is kind of like I'm in this thing, and I'm just gonna mime the words, but instead of saying like Erskagel, I'm gonna say like Erie Kegels,
Watermelon.
watermelon. And I'm just kind of like, hold the staff and kind of like jive to the beat of.
Okay,
of
well, you're
what
wearing
they're
a goat, so the question is, do you do the goat dance?
I guess. What is the goat dance? I don't know the goat dance.
Harry Bunkum knows the goat dance. Have you ever seen Dragnet, the movie?
It's been a
Where
while.
where they go to the pagan ritual, where the people
Right.
against goodness and normalcy.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, if anyone's ever seen the goat
It's
dance,
probably
you know what I'm
like
talking about.
A little. I'm holding this little staff, and I'm kind of crouched down. Eerie Kegels.
The goat dance, if you straight leg, just like kick your legs out. Oh man, you're not gonna do it? Yeah, but you gotta like go hut 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 hut. That's
I
close.
don't have a lot of room in here.
All right,
My
as
amount of
you
room
see
is-
them all doing the goat dance, the hut, 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 hut.
Yeah, no, I do whatever they're doing.
Back up top. Simon, you are waiting at the top. Is anyone with you?
Detective John I said would stay with me.
Detective John is standing with you as you see Simon, Rebecca, Leah, and Mariah all descending the quarter-mile slip toward the boat, as Leah will be peeling off shortly thereafter to go towards the bridge, likely. We'll get to them in a second to see if she does that. The action will be on you and Detective John. You hear the trees clamoring together like wind chimes as he
If,
turns and looks at you, all fucked up.
If Grant's still alive, we'll do our best to help him.
That's how you all got in this mess.
Well, we tried to help everyone the best we can. That's what at least makes me who I am.
He eyes you for a second, nods. You could do a lot more, you know.
I don't want to consign myself to powers I don't understand.
You'd rather just be a slave to them, right? In the dark.
I'm not a slave to anything.
He
As long as I can-
slowly turns and looks at you with a look that is pretty obvious what he means. Uh-huh. You know, we could use a guy like you. There's a lot more out here than goat-wearing occultists.
Yeah, we've met a couple other strange people, maybe down in the sewers.
He quickly looks and then kind of pauses. Even more so, we could use you.
Yeah. But I find if you're a man of your word, you can not befriend, but at least not make enemies of people.
He nods. Real quick, we got a sub on the channel.
Yeah.
Let
Well,
me go up,
Thanks
go up
so
the chat really
much.
fast.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, an anonymous.
JM Roth.
Well, an anonymous gifter gave.
Oh, an anonymous
J.M.
gifter
Roth
gave JM Roth a tier 1
a
sub. So congratulations, JM Roth. And also thank you to the anonymous gifter, whomever gave the number 1 sub. Awesome. Thank you guys very much. And because they're subs or subscribers, they do not get the ad break that's currently running.
Alright.
So they see this part.
They actually see this part, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. He kind of nods, John. Well, I'll tell you this, Simon. You can't go back. You can try to run from this, but you're not going to get far.
I'm not one to run.
He turns and looks at you again, waiting.
I have some questions though about your group. The first two that we dispatched of had a girl in their trunk.
Dark. Look over his eyes for a second. Continue.
They had a girl in their trunk. Was that your guys' doing, or why did they have...
Each team has a bit of autonomy.
So if it could have been them, but it's not a part of your group.
Well, you got to tell me a little bit more.
Well, it was...
I've had one or two girls in my trunk, if you know what I mean.
Well, this was a young girl, and
Guys,
she
too.
had been murdered.
He arcs an eyebrow, sort of winces at it as he does. Go on.
Well, and there were some pictures that we found from them, which had more pictures of mutilated girls. And if it's a part of your group, I don't want to have anything to do with that.
We don't mutilate anybody. Not like that. I don't know what they were working on. You're talking about Murphy. He kind of thinks to himself for a second. It could have been a lot.
Okay. So it was more like that they were probably investigating it as opposed to doing it themselves.
Cocking his head. What is it that you think we do?
I don't know. I was just worried because I originally thought that the mutilated girls were a part of this whole Lady Callie thing, but considering that that's not what's been going on, I didn't know if, because it was in their trunk, I didn't know. Like I said, we didn't know that you guys were going to even help us. We thought you were part of the whole Lady Callie thing.
We weren't going to help.
Well, I know you were the one who was going to help us, and I thank you for that.
Kind of nods. Well, I broke the rules doing. As for these girls you're talking about, they were probably an investigation of some. Callie and her group have been sacrificing. Not just young people, not yet just young girls. Seems like they have a type. Seems like they usually want an indoctrinated type person who's kind of brainwashed into becoming a willing sacrifice. And then some people aren't so willing. That's been going on for years.
Okay.
So what you're saying reminds me of what they do. Chopping people up in little pieces and such. Writing shit on them. Odd runes. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, and that makes me feel a little better. I know that you're a good guy because you were here to come back and help us.
He arcs another eyebrow and just winces.
Well, maybe. How about honorable? Let's say honorable. But I wasn't for sure about the rest of you. And again, sorry for the confusion earlier. It wouldn't have happened if we didn't realize, if we had known.
He kind of stops you. Don't be sorry for something you can't take back.
Yeah, we were thrown into all this without a clue of what was going on.
Murphy and Thomas, those are the two. They had their issues. And if I'm going to be honest, maybe they had it coming.
We probably wouldn't have, if he hadn't have attacked me if one of them hadn't have attacked me in the elevator, we probably wouldn't have fought them at all.
He kind of
But
nods.
he attacked me unprovoked in the elevator, so that led us to think that you guys were against us and not maybe potential allies.
Well, we work in twos. And like I said, it's pretty autonomous work. Anyway, he looks back down the stairway or the path where Nord went. Your friend's been gone a while.
It is taking him longer than I would have expected.
You want to go check?
Let's walk down there and see, at least make sure that the ice is still broke up, so when he comes back up, we can help him out, or if we see a body floating in there.
He nods as you guys start going down. Leah and Tony, you're with Mariah and Rebecca walking down the way. You can't hear Detective John and Simon talking because they're above, and there's the wind. As you leave the forest, the wind starts picking up, cuts through you. Wind chill easily -5, maybe more. Thankfully, you have these hides on, which protect you a little bit from it. As Mariah's all wrapped up, Rebecca as well, wrapped up tight in these things. As you get to a point where the path splits, and Leah, you can see where it goes to the Chambly Bridge, and Tony, you see where it continues down to the sort of hidden bay where the gas-powered boat is docked. Action is on you.
Leah looks down at Mariah and says, "All right, I'm going to break off for a minute."
She's all wrapped up. You just see like her eyes, and she's like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, sure as anything, at least.
Where are you going?
I'm going across the bridge.
You gotta cross the bridge?
Yeah, I'm gonna check the lighthouse and save us some time on that front.
Alright, I'd follow you, but I don't know if that bridge can hold more than one person.
Well, I'd rather you stay with both of them and make sure everything's fine down towards the boat anyway. So.
If anyone shows up, I'll read a book.
Okay.
As Mariah gives you
breaks off.
a little hug on the leg and the waist, and you hop off. Tony, you and Rebecca and Mariah descend to the boat. I'm assuming you're out front, or are you allowing?
Yeah, I'm out front.
Good. Action's on you. Get down to the boat. It is sitting there frozen in place, or seemingly. There's loads of snow piled up, a good foot and a half on bits and pieces of it, icicles streaming down. No one is on the boat. Rebecca walks over to the ice. Oh, shit. You think it can break free?
I don't know. But look, we don't have much time to waste, so let's start cleaning the boat off.
Mariah starts hitting the icicles and such.
I start brushing the snow off. I'm kind of curious if the gasoline is frozen in the engine.
So you get onto the boat. It's slick and such. As you go into where the engine is, you can pop it open and check.
All right, I'll do that.
It is not frozen.
All right, I'll shut it again before I break anything.
Mariah and Rebecca. Mariah will go. She's all bundled up, and she's knocking icicles off and clearing the railings as Rebecca goes into the cabin down. You see some lights turn on as she turns on the electricity. You hear from down there Rebecca say, "Electricity works."
Hey, we're gonna head on down there here in a few more minutes if Nord doesn't come back.
Do we want to turn on the boat? Heat it up?
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
Rebecca pokes her head out. I don't know how to do that.
All right, I do. I will attempt to turn on the boat.
What do you bid? Turnkey.
You know what? I'm gonna bid. I'm gonna bid local because, at least back in the day, at some point it's more likely for a kid to have to turn on a boat than to play a World of Warcraft.
Well done.
In the
Drop kick,
1980s.
Murphy. Damn it, Murphy. Yeah, so as you bid this, what is the intention? And that is going to describe that.
All right. I get up on the boat, and first, before I do that, I want to look around and make sure this boat is tied up.
Fair. As you look around, where's the moor? And you in fact see a line tied to this little post.
Okay. Yeah, so I will get in and attempt to start the engine.
Tell us what happens.
I look around. I see a string to pull. I brush some snow off of it, and I just let it rip.
As blue smoke and the engine starts, maybe one or two pulls. As you can tell, standing on the boat, the water is frozen in such a way where the boat's not level. It's kind of catty-cornered just a little bit. So if you were to set a glass of water down, it would be leaning to the side on a little bit of a swell. As you hear the engine maybe out of the water a little bit, and it's really loud, doing that whole thing. You smell, oil burning in the whole whatnot. Is it working? You hear Mariah.
Oh, it's working.
How do we get in the water?
Let's let it warm up first.
As you wait, Leah, you're about to the bridge when you hear the boat start up, and you can see the smoke from the engine. Before you,
Oh, that's good.
as you get higher and higher on this hill, the wind is stronger and stronger, and now is whipping past you. You can hear it blowing past your ear, just freezing them as you maybe take your hood and cinch it down closer. You see the shambly bridge, this armature of rusted metal that's ding 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 in the wind, covered in ice and snow.
Yeah, so Leah goes ahead and starts crossing the bridge.
I should say it is dark still. It's about 4:30 in the morning, but with the firelight, from the city and the cloud cover and all these things, there's that ambient sort of light that happens in. It's still very dark for everyone, so you can see the lights and such.
Is this an open top bridge or is this like a suspension bridge?
It's like what's left of a bridge. So it's just the armature of it, and the slats mostly are gone. You and Nord, when you crossed it before, sort of jumped from a little slat and got on a rung and would move this way. And as you did, the bridge moved, if you remember, and like clambered together and fell apart in places. So it is currently open top. It's originally it was for walking across.
Yeah.
So it's not for cars.
So Leah will stick to either side, knowing that the most structurally stable, is going to be the outside edges. And she'll try and follow along the side of the bridge.
Okay. What do you bid?
For this one, I'm assuming we're not in a new scene, yeah.
No.
Okay. For this one, I'm going to bid my fate as a trait, the Fool.
Okay. Just as a normal trait, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bidding the Fool. As you go out on this bridge, it's going pretty well. It's slick, but your boots have traction, and you're going pretty carefully. You're making pretty fair time. You're about a quarter of the way across. I want to say the river, I think I've changed distance, but it's, I think, half a mile or a quarter. Do you guys remember? I remember it took you like 20 minutes by boat to get it. So it's long enough for that. It's not as wide as like which is like apparently extremely wide. Maybe half that distance. I don't know. That's not a. Say it's 1/8 of a mile. You're about a quarter of the way across. The distance from the bridge to the ice below you is a good 40, 50 feet. And that's when you take a step and you feel whatever the bolt was that was there is not connected, as the bridge where you're on swings out a good 3-4 feet. And you feel this weightlessness like a door hinge. Tang, 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 tang. As you see the other side, when it hits, swing. Tang, and you kind of go back and forth, holding on. You see out ahead of you, the bridge moving back and forth as it looks treacherous. So with this bid, you continue on, you need to throw down. Don't slouch, DJ No Fly says. Told us.
And there's a narrative point for the arbiter.
Oh, thanks. Drizzle, don't slouch.
I'm not.
I am going to throw down, and it is going to be.
The threshold to get across this bridge unscathed is 5.
Oh my.
There are degrees of success. You'll still get through it, even if you fail that 5, but it will be with degrees of success.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use 2 proficiencies to start with to re-roll that.
Yeah. Nord is sucking up all the good rolls tonight. So is Tony. Tony throwing.
That's 2. So,
Remember, the degrees of success essentially are rolling 1 on your action. That's an utter failure. Getting no successes, of course, no good. Failing by 2 or more is the degree, and then being within that little deal, limbo, and success.
Okay.
So if you get 3 or 4, you're pretty good.
Okay, I'm gonna use my last proficiency to re-roll the 10. Hopefully, do. So rolled. Okay, so that's 3 successes. So
Okay, you're in good failure.
yeah. So I'm going to now bid whatever whatever I have left. My nature, which is decisive, to activate Master at Arms to give me an extra 2 successes.
How does Master at Arms help you cross this bridge?
Because in military training you do a lot of general fitness training that helps teach you coordination and balance and how to traverse a treacherous terrain.
It's a push and a pull, but I'll allow it. We've bent the rules on Master at Arms. It's okay. I can dig it. All right. So what are you at?
5.
Okay. With Limbo, describe getting across this. How does Leah do it? It's difficult, and I will tell you the unintended outcome. Or you can.
Okay, actually, I'll go ahead and bite bullet on the coming up with something good. At least I think that'll be reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So Leah, particularly as she sees that, she starts to being even more cautious. Doing her best to very carefully pick her path ahead. And a couple times, she kind of slips, and she catches herself plenty well enough. And she'll get about 3/4 of the way through, or 3/4 of the way across, when again, one of the places that she was actually stepping just gives out completely underneath her.
You see
she doesn't fall.
Ice.
Yeah, she doesn't actually. She actually falls with it for a bit, and is able to catch herself. But it actually gashes up her arm. She cuts up her arm on a piece of metal. And you can decide however many wounds you think that deserves. But she will
18 wounds.
just barely catch herself, and swing her legs back up on the bridge and finish the rest of her traversal.
As you fall, it bruises you up. Everything in the cold sucks when you hit a knuckle. You're just like, ah! There's this wide shot as you see the piece of bridge fall, and then the wide shot of the silhouette of Leah grabbing, one-armed, doing the cliffhanger thing. As you look down, taking the cinematic moment to watch this piece of the bridge fall, and it hits ice. Okay, let's find out we'll use this to find out if the river is frozen solid or not. So, how to do it? Fate roll? Interesting. Or we can put it to the players. Why is the bridge frozen or not frozen? We'll start with Simon.
I don't think it's frozen. I don't think it's frozen because it's not been that cold for that long.
Okay,
it takes
Simon.
a while for things.
You guys have to have different answers, or you can build on those answers.
Well, for one, because it is such a large body of water, it does take longer to freeze. So I think maybe the sides of it are the top of it's frozen, but when you get to the middle, that's flowing kind of water. It takes a lot longer for that to freeze.
Tony, add to it, or add to this.
I think the water's moving enough to keep the ice to keep any ice that is there from creating a solid seal over the part of the river that we're at.
As you see this piece fall, hitting ice, and then splash into the center where you've confirmed if the boat can break free, you can get across using it. As Leah, you pull yourself back up, you feel the warmth of blood and the gash underneath your clothes. You're not really sure how bad it is. But the player will know. Roll a d4. We'll say this is a d4 plus 1 of damage. Unless that kills you, and then we'll just have it.
So that would
What's a
be
d4? Just a d4.
total.
Yeah, not a d4
Yeah.
plus 1.
Oh, so 3.
Yep. So 3. As it hurts, you cut yourself up pretty gnarly. For the description, you get a narrative point. As you pull yourself up and make your way to the other side, maybe binding up your wound.
What happens again if you go over 5 narrative points? You just kind of have to.
You have to
use
spend
them?
it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Pips can be used to drop the load. Narrative points, you just have to use.
Okay, so in that case, I will just go ahead and use that one and say that while the back half of the bridge that I just came from was the worst part, partly because it's more in the wind and less stable. Leah finds that the rest of her journey across the bridge is not as treacherous because it's just that part of the bridge seems to have held up a little bit better.
Cool. So that's what we'll say is the Chambly Bridge can be traversed. It's just there's this one part that's rather treacherous. And, that's why it hasn't fallen. Because it actually was made, long ago. You guys mind a fate roll really quick? I know we're rolling a lot. Let's do a fortune, false fortune. Who's fortune, who's false fortune?
I'll be fortune.
I'll do false fortune.
Okay. Fortune is... I'm going to let the players deal with this really quick, so I'll give you false fortune first. False fortune. The bridge was made back in, the 1918, 1920s. World War I era. Or whenever the Empire State built. When is that, Holger? Modernism.
The Empire State Building is Art Deco.
Yeah. Art Deco?
Yeah.
When would that be? 1910?
Yeah,
Later
the
than
20s the 20s are probably at zenith.
Okay, so we'll say sometime in the 20s is when this bridge was actually made, and it was made of really good stuff, and it's just stood the test of time. That's what it is, and that's the reason that it stood. That's false fortune. Fortune. What is it? What is fortune for this? You guys give each a little piece.
As for the bridge,
Yeah.
Well, it was made in the 20s or 30s, early 30s maybe, and they made things like to really last. And it was solid, and as Detroit lost money, they just couldn't maintain it a little bit. So it's got really solid bones, and that's the only reason that it's there. But 50 years have gone by of freezing and thawing and hot summers and cold winters, and so it's definitely, it was made well but not maintained.
So that's the false fortune. So what is the fortune for you guys?
Okay, I got an interesting idea. The notion that Lady Callie's cult has kind of intentionally, how should I put this? They have made sure it is just usable enough for them to get across if they need to, but they intentionally make it appear or allow it to. They have allowed it to degrade to the point to where most people wouldn't be willing to take the chance to cross it.
Interesting. Someone else want to add to that? A little snippet.
Yeah, there's rust.
Great. Anyone else?
Anybody can get tetanus when they cross. If they get cut, it's bad.
Oh, that's misfortune now. We'll say that's part of the misfortune.
Yeah,
Or
right.
the false fortune. You need a tetanus shot too.
Need a tetanus shot.
It is actually sturdier than it looks, and those faultaways are actually booby traps.
Oh, interesting.
So it's
Which
like
means
so
that
you-
Leah knows where they are.
Yeah, so that way once you learn it, you can traverse it with no problem because
interesting.
they're traps that they have worked into it.
Anything else?
It's got really great design because they had real artisans. So if it could be distracting because you're looking at the architecture because it was well made, and so there are little carvings every so often.
Oh, there's
that
carving.
that show like some strong work. Maybe even runes might say
runes
that could heal it if ever so slightly if it was fortunate.
Interesting. So there's runes that could be activated on. What would they do?
They would heal the bridge or harm it depending on who was crossing.
All right, let's roll. Fortune and false fortune.
Ooh. The fortune roll is only a 28.
Yeah, guys, I got a 64.
I'll give you a proficiency. I
lockjaw.
feel like I haven't helped a ton, so I'll give you a fabrication proficiency.
That's incredibly Brit.
Okay, this is better. Fortune is an 89 now.
That's right.
And I got a 31, so we're
All right.
good.
As Leah, you moved by and you noticed these, and maybe actually when you fell, it was fortunate. As bring yourself back up, and right there in front of your face, you see a cuneiform, and realize there is something to this bridge. As you maybe get to the end of the bridge and look back, and your training and whatnot, as you bid Master at Arms, kicks in, and you realize those are booby traps. You bet you could avoid them. You could probably just cross this bridge. You wonder what those runes do. It's probably something tied. Maybe there's power latent in them. Nord,
Oh,
Me.
you're on the second, or on the first platform of the ziggurat as you hear the reawakened moving around, chanting, Erishkaga, 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 Mahelava Revu.
Eerie cable, lava dormammu.
What do you do?
I'm trying to blend in and kind of like rock with them a
In the
little
goat?
bit, like
As you
in the goat, and I've got the staff. I mean, I have her staff, so I mean that's
but it's
gotta
not a staff.
mean some, or her spear, whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm not a weapons expert, but I have the
You get
runic
this
staff.
oversized staff.
Yeah, and
sort
I'm
of
kind of
blade
using
thing.
it to I'm using it in the dance, and as
Yeah.
I'm doing it, I'm trying to blend in. Do I
And
need to
you're
throw
at
it
the
down?
you're at the middle of the ziggurat, and you're like,
I'm gonna
yeah,
start.
yeah.
I'm gonna start dancing closer. Are there any flames nearby me?
So you're on the ziggurat,
Yeah.
and they're on this level and on the top level. So there's only two. On this level, there's two small braziers, and at the top there's one large brazier.
All right.
And
so
then
I'm
you
gonna
need to
start.
descend.
I'm gonna
to go
start
out the front
moving
door.
up to the top.
Oh, you go up to the top. There's a moment where the acolytes. Drizzle, will you roll me a d6 or d12 actually? And Nord, call high or low.
I'm gonna call low, high, low.
Which is it? Low?
Low.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
because it was a 1.
As they look up, and you hear their chorus of voices, like football fans going nuts at a score as they see you holding Lady Callie's spear thing, and you're in the goat outfit with the fucking floppy ears and the weird eyes, and they're like, "It is Gargoyle, it is Gargoyle."
So I'm gonna do something really stupid.
Good.
Really stupid. I am going to create a potion that
Right
I've read
now?
about. Yep.
You'll have to stop all the dance. You'll have to put down the spear thing. You're on the steps.
Well, it's not that kind of potion. So
Oh.
it actually, if you hear me out a little bit, I have quite a bit of black. That might be the only. I know I've got quite a bit of black color. And
Black pigment, which is an alchemical component. Pigment. So people know what you're talking about.
Black pigment. I know that. I know that there is some red, some fire going on, and so what I'm gonna do, and I got a little bit of that blood from Lady Callie, which is orange. It's unbalanced. I'm pretty sure that it's not of any kind of place or time. And
For
so
anybody wants to know, this is all in the DreadLore core book. Go.
I'm building this thing called Rega Akavo, and this biggest flame Akavo. And I'm gonna, and the intention is to bring down the house.
Okay, so Nord will know. He's never made Rega Akvo, which by the way is King's Water.
Yeah.
And King's Water is an actual thing. For everyone to know, what King's Water can do is it is an acid that can melt gold. So it's a pretty strong acid.
It's very caustic.
Incredibly caustic. For it to bring down the house, you're gonna.
Well, if anything,
you have to
maybe not even bring down the house, but certainly do some damage.
Sure.
To the structure of the building. The goal is to get this fire to go to the ceiling and start burning the ceiling.
That's what we're trying to do. Awesome. What do you bid
and to get it
to make this
really
happen?
just super hot? So
you have the Rega Akvo. Do you need to make it first?
I'm gonna bid my focus, which is burning.
So you got to make it first. Okay. All right. This is not one action. This is actually two actions. So
I'm kind of like hopping around, but I've got a little black. I've got a little bit black pigment and just to use. So I might throw a little black pigment on the flame to make it spark up. Just in general,
absolutely.
Just to
that
get
totally
things started. To get them. Yeah,
they're going crazy.
They're super into it. So I got 5 more of these. And I'm gonna just take all of the blood that I've gathered from Lady Callie. Just all of it. Just whatever. I'm start wiping because I'm covered in her blood. As well. And like gathering it together maybe in a ceremonic way, and then quite a bit to activate my chemist ability.
As you're like hut ha hut. This guy got it. Okay.
And I'm trying to do this is like,
and you throw all the ingredients in. Okay.
Yeah, and basically I'm just gonna toss. I'm gonna try and toss it all in at the same time. I've got 5. I've got 5 more black pigments, and I'm just gonna throw the load in.
Throw it all.
Okay,
and you're bidding your focus of burning here, right? Burning being your soul level.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to need a throwdown, and I will give you the stakes.
Okay.
This will cause a massive explosion shooting up. You're going to create a lot of Rega Akvo. It's going to splash everywhere and do a lot of damage. So, 1, you got a chaos die. 2, which it would be funny if the chaos die was a 1. It just means a mishap, which is bad. Sure. This is like a danger level. I'm gonna say danger level 5.
Yeah.
This is a good danger level 5 because you're doing 5. Yeah.
It's not.
Okay. Here are the stakes. Here are the stakes. If this goes badly, Nord blows up.
Yeah, I presumed that much.
This will be a burning of breath situation for him to survive.
One of the things I wanted to do is maybe try to. I don't think there's a way to time it so where I think it's one of those things where I just got to throw it and run. out as fast as
Right.
possible.
What I'm
That's what's
saying is-
going on in my head.
And what I'm saying is this: stakes-wise, this explosion's gonna go off. If you run, which you can, running's good.
Yeah.
You will still take damage.
Oh, I'm
'Cause
sure.
this thing's gonna explode and
Explode
start
out.
falling. Now, if you fail, if it goes utter failure style,
Sure. I
you
got
gotta burn breath to survive. Because
I
otherwise
have
you
a
blow
little
up.
I have a little breath, but I'm hoping
good.
it doesn't come to that. I've got
There's gonna be degrees of
ideas
success
of
here.
how to
So if you succeed
how to-
better, you're gonna get more options.
make
Basically-
it happen.
The more you fail, the less options you have. The more you succeed, the more options you have. So, go ahead and throw ye down.
So I'm
I'm gonna write down a
bid-
number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write down a number. Not gonna tell you what it is.
Oh. Well, I mean, I have a breath. I might as well just burn a breath.
Well, you don't want to burn it, you would spend it. That'll take you to
Spend-
limbo, which
Yeah. it
means you
would spend-
succeed, but it's a yes but situation.
Okay. One of the things that well, I don't know what it is. So I imagine it's a lot. I'm going to
It's
go
high.
with my original idea of I'm going to put my dirty dirt, not my dirty dirt. I'm going to put my little tiny pistol, my ankle pistol on the flame next to it. So it'll be a delayed, like as it gets hotter and hotter, it'll hopefully dry out the chemical in there. So basically, I'm going to take the pouch of blood and all the black powder that I have, and I'm going to put it just outside of where this is. And so all it needs is a little spark from the dirty dirk. And I'm going to kind of creep out, dance quickly out, trying to make it. So I might have just a short amount of time, and I'm going to bid a bunch of stuff to do.
Go for it. We have a threshold already.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bid yellow journalism to activate my quick and dirty, which I'm trying to convince them that I'm not going to blow up the fire, so it's going to look real.
Right.
I'm going to bid the Derringer itself, which I love that little pistol and always have it with me until now, which it is going to die. So I'm very sad about that. So
yes, it is going to die.
That I believe is my little D4. And then I'm gonna bid. I've got Levi's ring that I'm kind of holding on to, and I don't know what it does or if it does anything, but just for like, okay, Lady Callie saw something in me, and maybe this adds to that that something that she sees in me. I don't know if there's any kind of connection, but I'm just kind of rubbing it just as a psychosis, because I'm thinking of her in this moment, which is a derangement. I'm going to use my shit. I'm gonna use I got two. My catalyst flaw to activate chemistry, which is putting all this stuff in a way together. So I've got two abilities. I've got two pieces of equipment. I think I'm totally out.
And your chaos die.
And my chaos die.
Yep. Make all your rolls.
All right, so fuck me.
Okay. As Nord, you put all of it up there, and you start moving back like a firework that you don't know when it's gonna go off.
Yeah. All right, so that is
You see a spark.
7 successes. 7.
You get a D12 as well.
Oh, what is that?
As you flick and play with this ring.
Oh.
It gives you a D12 extra die. So roll the
Okay.
D12.
Oh yeah, I didn't roll for the dirk either. So that I rolled a 12. So I get something.
Okay, so that's two successes in flair.
That's 9
And remember, you
successes.
get the extra die for the dirk.
Right.
Since you used Levi's ring, you also make sanity roll.
The Derringer.
We'll get
the
to that in a
Derringer.
second.
All right. The
We'll-
Derringer.
we'll- yeah.
My it's not my dirk. And then I rolled a 2
Derringer.
on the Derringer. So
Okay.
I do have. So that's 9 so far.
All right. Are you going to add anything to it or attempt to do anything else?
Not in this moment. Because I don't think I can do anything else.
Drizzle, what's the threshold?
The threshold was 6.
Oh shit.
As you get a narrative point, Nord, describe
I'll
to
spend
us.
it.
Yeah. How does this play
So
out?
I'm kind of dancing. Once I get it all together, I go really big and I start like really exclaiming, irritable. Like I try to outdo him. Like I'm getting some disco in. Disco's like a thing. Like I start spinning around and I just kind of start making my way to the exit.
Yep. You
where-
get to the exit. They're like, "It is gone. It is gone."
And then
Their eyes
I'm
are
gonna
like blue
bid-
and they're dead and they have like wounds in their head and shit.
And then I'm gonna bid hide to run the fuck away and try
The-
to. Or do
The
I need
girl,
to
like her
bid-
face is blown off, so she can't talk. She's like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." As you turn and run.
Yeah.
As you get about 2 doors down, and you're like almost at the pool, they're like, "Hey, this dog, where is he going?" As you're like, and they just see this goat head upside down, like, wop, 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 wop. Run away! As you dive into the water, and there is a massive explosion. You feel it. You don't see it. The cutscene. The brazier erupts in. We'll start with Drizzle. What does this look like?
Oh, well, it's all of a sudden it poofs out and like this purple flame starts shooting out of it. That doesn't look normal to what they've seen.
Leah, add to it.
The flame actually starts dripping on the ground like unnaturally.
As it does, it starts melting the stone like alien blood in Alien. We're gonna add at least 3 or 4 more times to this because it's a big scene. Holker, what's the next part? Explosion. As the acolytes are like, "Yeah, it is God. What the? Oh no!"
As the flame hits the stone, is this almost indiscernible but just discernible sound of high-pitched screams that occur as the flame hits the stone, almost as if someone is actually in pain or some being is in pain.
As the temple shakes, screaming and such. Nord, would you like to add something to this?
There's like a little close up of one of the body parts of Lady Callie, maybe her face that didn't get all the way burned, and it's just like you see the eyeball just kind of move, like it was kind of into it. It was going Irish, Gargle, Irish. It was kind of into it, and then it was like, and then it just, you know.
Simon?
And as it's pluming out, because you see it like
And the caustic fumes and such.
yeah, you see it like dripping through and melting the stone, but like spurts of it are shooting out and like hitting the pillars and start to eat away at the pillars around the room as well.
As rocks start falling like an Indiana Jones movie. Andrea? This will be the last one.
As the fire starts dripping on the ground and the explosion still happening, the fire actually on the ground starts flowing like water, even though there's no discernible fuel causing it to do that.
Oh, that's cool. As you see the fire like flowing around, almost tracing blood sacrifices, except in reverse, as they trace up the ziggurat, and you see the top of it explode in like a thruster like a rocket of purple flame. And as the whole shebang starts falling down, completely crushing into non-existence, you see from the catacombs undead bodies, skeletons, coming to life, chasing after Nord as they get crushed, as from within this ziggurat, what was inside of it? Some ancient thing? Perhaps the mummified corpse of the original Lady Cow. As it is melted, explosion, as Nord, you're swimming out with this rather heavy glaive-looking thing, and you bust out of the ice just in time to see Simon and John. The ground is rumbling. You see the structure that you guys thought originally was the temple on top cave in, and the ground starts opening before your eyes where you are, as the water starts flooding in like a huge sinkhole. The action is on you guys.
I will reach down and grab Nord by the arm and start to pull him out of the water as quick as possible.
John is helping you do it. Nord, you're out of the water. What do you guys bid to not get sucked into this ravine?
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna do it
I have
evasive.
anything? I've used every single one of my traits.
Can throw down.
I will use Ranger, which I got back when I...
Oh, nice.
Do I need to throw down?
No, just a bit. All right. How does this happen? As the ground literally opens up, this massive pool of water, like Moses parting the Red Sea in reverse, sinks both sides into a ravine as it continues opening. How do you three get out of here?
Well, as I reach down to grab Nord's hands, and John does as well, like as we grip him is when we start to notice the water and ice start to just slowly well, not slowly, it's probably going pretty quickly, just start to lower real quickly. But since we've got a hold of him, it doesn't pull him with it. And so we get him up onto the shore. And I'm like...
And the ground where you are is about to be
like,
gone.
We've got to go now. And I will reach over and like put my arm around John and start to motion him. And I'm like, come on, Nord. And I've got his arm, and I just jerk it a little because I can't. But
Nord, what do you have to add to this?
I'm like, well, who's got you? I got me, and I'm like, Simon. It looks like John's the most hurt. I'm fine. I can breathe underwater.
Oh, no, we've got to get it before the ground opens.
Yeah,
up.
let's go. I help Simon.
As you guys
along.
three-legged race it out of this ravine, you get up several of the steps into the forest and see where you were falling into an 80, 100-foot pit. And there's this plume of purple and black smoke that just roils up from it, and almost like the gasp of something. As the plume goes higher and higher, you hear a wailing scream.
I would like to bid a flaw tinnitus to not hear it.
You don't hear it. Simon, seeing that, wondering perhaps what it is.
Oh, I would not look back.
As you
Because
keep on going.
I'm running evasive. I'm trying to get out of the area until I know that we can, and especially since I'm trying to help John along, until I know that we are in an area that's not going to collapse, I will not stop.
As you guys get to the top, where you were before, where Nord had initially left, you look down, you hear the gas-powered boat, and as you look across, you can just barely see it next to maybe the silhouette next to the lighthouse of Leah on the other side. How can you see? It's around 4:45, 5 in the morning. The sun is starting to just maybe peak. Twilight. Don't have much time before the night is over with. This is where we're going to take a break.
Excellent. Simon?
Thank you guys for sticking with us in the first half of this. We'd like to quickly go over the cast and stuff again. I'm Drizzle. I play Simon Vincent. We have Ken Howl, who plays Nord Zetterberg. We have Daniel Holker, who plays Tony Zerniak. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Andrea Elliott-Johnson, who plays Leah Mizrahi. And our arbiter is Bill Bunkum. Music was by all lowercase letters and Mr. Interrupt. We'd like to thank them. We'd like to thank our Patreon members, Nostalgic, Natalia Cline, Tim Roberts, and Daniel Halker. All the technological stuff and visuals you see is done by Couchfire Media. And who knows what in the world ttrpg Productions do.
Yeah, nobody knows.
They're here for us every week. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. So thanks for sticking with us, and hope you guys stick with us a little bit longer.
Agreed.